find a place where you really feel like you can settle into the support of your mat. As always, give yourself some time to allow your focus and your attention to move in towards your breath. And as you start to allow that experience of breathing to rise up towards the surface, see if you can allow each exhale to let you soften your jaw so that you feel like your bottom jaw just gently hangs a little bit. And to really let the weight of your head rest into the floor. See if you can visualize and feel into that weightiness of your skull and find kind of the center of your head. For most people, that's right above the top of the palate, the roof of your mouth. And see if you can allow that to feel like it's the center of gravity, letting your head rest down into the mat. That might mean you have to shift the position of your head and your neck a little bit so that you really start to feel the center of your head rest back. And then as you let your breath flow in and flow out, you can either do this with your arms resting by your sides, or you can bring one hand over your heart, one hand onto your belly. See if you can allow each exhale to get a little bit longer than the one before. If your hands are resting on your body, as you breathe in, feel how your breath moves them up away from the mat. And as you let your breath out, let that process of exhaling get a little longer, a little sweeter, without any force. Letting that deepening, lengthening exhale be an invitation to the nervous system, to the fabric of the body, to let go a little bit, to connect in a little more deeply, to soften a little more fully into the support of the floor. Give yourself another 4, 5, 6 breaths here. Feeling into that ebb and flow of your inhale and your exhale. And of course, using those breaths to explore in any way that really helps you to feel alive and connected on the inside. That might be as simple as continuing to feel your breath flow in and flow out. Or you might move your breath through the sides of the body. Send it towards any places that feel a little tight and restricted in this moment, so that the touch of your breath becomes an additional invitation to soften and release. Just have a last breath or two. And then as you feel ready, if your hands are resting on your body, let them come back down by your sides. And if your knees aren't already bent, go ahead and bend your knees and let your feet come down onto the mat. And as you breathe in, let your belly rise. Let the front line of your body expand and lengthen, and rock your pelvis towards your toes. As you come into this arch shape, gently press your hips down and see if you can feel your chin rock in towards your chest as you roll your pelvis towards your toes, so that both your head and your hips are moving. And then very slowly let that go. And as you let your back soften and lengthen, let the front of your throat soften and lengthen, so that you return back to that place where the center of your skull feels weighty towards the mat. As you exhale, let your low back sink down, rock your pelvis towards you, And as you round your back, let your head rock as your pelvis rocks, feeling how your chin reaches up towards the sky and how the back of the upper neck closes. This is connected to that line of fascia we were talking about that wraps up into the forehead. And then slowly let that go. Letting, of course, the front body soften and release, but also the back of the neck soften and release. So that again, both that rolling cylinder of the pelvis and hips and the rolling cylinder of your skull return back to a more neutral place. We'll go back and forth, of course, for a few cycles, really seeing if we can feel how moving in the very center of the body is affecting the head and the neck. As you inhale, roll your pelvis towards your toes. Feel the chin rocking towards your chest. Gently press down with that bottom line of your hips and take an inhale into your belly, letting it expand upwards. Noticing how that might deepen the movement of the head as well as the arch in the back. And then as slowly as you can, really keeping your attention on those muscles that contracted to make that arch shape. Let go of that contraction to come back out again. Rounding the back, reversing that shape as you exhale. Roll your pelvis towards you. Feel your head rock. Let your chin reach up as the ribs pull down, as the front body contracts. Gently press the low back down as if you were taking your belt into the mat. And take an inhale breath into your back. And then slowly, again, releasing from the back of the neck, as well as from the chest, the belly, the inner thighs, all the way back to zero. We'll take 2 more cycles just like that. Really seeing if we can allow the movement in the center of the body to affect the neck and the head. Inhaling into your arch. Again, refining your mind's focus by gently pressing the hips down, breathing the belly up towards the sky until you're conscious of where you're contracting in the back and the front of the throat. And then slowly keeping your attention in those places, letting go in tiny little steps till you've come all the way down. Reversing that shape, following your exhale, letting the low back sink down, the pelvis roll towards you, your head rock as your ribs pull down so that your chin reaches towards the sky. Again, rooting the waistline down, take a breath into your back. Let your mind feel how the front body remains closed. And then slowly let that go. Give yourself 1 more cycle in each direction. On this last cycle, see if you can go even more slowly with the release. Again, let your pelvis rock towards your toes. Feel the chin rock in. Refine the awareness of your back. Root the hips down. Breathe your belly up towards the sky. Let your mind be clear on the contraction in the back so that you can release that consciously. Conscious contraction and conscious release of that contraction is how we transform those patterns, coming slowly back to zero. And as you're ready, following an exhale, rolling your pelvis towards the top of the head, feeling the chin reach skyward, gently pressing the back of the waistline down, breathing into the back, and letting your mind be clear on the contraction in the front body so that you can release it. And go little by little by little by little till you've come all the way back to zero effort. Take a moment just to rest here as you arrive. We're going to come back into the connection between the forehead, the chest, and that rounding action in a moment. But let's take a break to take a little bit of rotating before we play with that piece. Bringing your attention into the right leg and letting the left leg stay roughly neutral with the knee kind of pointing up towards the sky. Start to slowly let the right knee sway over towards the left, as if your right knee was going to come to your left toe. Let the right side lengthen so that that right knee can pass in front of the left shin as you allow your hips to rock and slowly lower the weight of the right leg. Shoulders stay grounded. And then as you feel ready, contract through the right side to draw your right hip towards the mat and to lift the leg back up towards vertical. We'll take that action a couple of times, releasing from the right side. See if you can allow the ribs, the side waist, the hip, the leg, to all release away from your right shoulder, lowering that right knee towards the left big toe. And then lift the weight of the leg back up by drawing that right hip towards the mat, contracting through the right side. See if you can feel the contraction come all the way up towards your armpit. 2 more times here. As you ease off, see if you can allow there to be movement and lengthening from way up by your shoulder to all the way down by the outer hip and outer thigh. Give yourself 1 more cycle. Again, drawing the right hip towards the mat to come back towards a neutral position, contracting through the right side. And once you've found that feeling of contraction, slowly releasing it from by the armpit, from the middle of the rib cage, the lower ribs, but finally the waist and the hip, coming only as far into that spiral as you can without strain or stretch. And then let that right leg come back up. And take a moment just to pause and to feel, noticing any differences between the right side now from the right side a moment or two ago. And then taking that same movement pattern into the left side, and letting the right leg be a little bit of a pivot point. We're sort of rotating around that right hip to allow the left side to be long or to lengthen. And as you feel ready, start to let the left hip rock up and the left leg slowly lower over towards the right big toe. Again, pausing at the place where you feel any sensation of stretch or strain, and then drawing the left hip towards the mat, contracting through the left side to lift that left leg back up, so coming back towards neutral with the hips and the knee, and then releasing from the ribs, down through the waist, finally through the hip and outer thigh, lowering that left knee towards the right big toe, feeling the left side lengthen, and then contracting through that left side to lift the leg back up. See if you can feel how there's a pull from the hip up towards the armpit to lift the leg and bring the hips back towards neutral. And then release from way up at the top of the side ribs all the way down through the hip to allow that left knee to sway towards the right, feeling the left side lengthen. Give yourself 2 more cycles. Gently contract through that left side, lifting that left knee back up, bringing the hips back towards neutral, and keeping that left shoulder connected to the ground. Release through the upper, middle, lower ribs, waistline, and hip to lower the left knee. Give yourself 1 more cycle. And engaging through that side to bring the legs back up. And then releasing through that side. Let the legs come over towards the right. Let that left knee come back up again. And again, as you get back to neutral, pause and rest for a moment, just feeling into the left side. Again, taking a moment to check inwards, to feel inwards. Make your mind witness any shifts or changes that you've created with that process. So as I mentioned before, we're going to come back to that rounding action. Let your hands slide back behind your head, unless that's uncomfortable for your shoulders in some way. And I want you to take a moment to imagine that the ceiling was going to come crashing down onto the top of your head. If that were going to happen, you would scrunch up from your eyebrows into your forehead. You'd send your chin forward, the back of the neck would close, and you'd move to curl yourself into a ball. And that's the shape that we're going to try to create. It's going to be basically the same shape we take when we round our backs a little more and lift our heads and chests up away from the mat. But I want us to see if we can find it from the upper forehead space. And be really gentle with this, Allison, as you play, because I know you mentioned this was the place where you feel the tension. Go into this slowly and see if you can invite your mind to feel that it can create some of that contraction for itself, and then slowly release it. It might be a really tiny movement, or it might feel good to go deeper, but make sure you're going slowly so that you have the chance to adjust how much effort you're putting into it as you need to. So when you feel like you're ready, start to scrunch up your forehead. Imagine something was really going to fall as you were standing on the top of your head, and let that start to curl you inward. You'll feel your chin reach up. You'll feel the upper part of the back of the neck contract. You'll feel your face scrunch up. Notice how that comes down towards the low belly. Gently press the low back down, rolling your pelvis towards you. And then maybe start to lift your head and chest up away from the mat. And maybe reach your elbows up towards the sky like you were really going to curl yourself into a ball. Now, as you go to release, see if you can start from your face. Let your face soften. Let the back of the neck lengthen, really resting the weight of your head into your hands. Let the elbows broaden, and slowly, slowly, slowly allow yourself to come all the way back down, maybe even letting the knees melt out towards the sides as you release down through the low belly towards the sitting bones and inner thighs. So we'll take that action a couple of times, seeing if we can start from the face, from the very top of the body. Again, visualizing if you need to. I find the visualization really helpful. Think about curling yourself in to avoid something falling onto the top of your head. Start from the face. See if you can scrunch up your face. Feel how that pulls across the top of your skull and into the back of the neck. Your chest is going to curl backwards as your chin reaches forwards. Rolling your pelvis towards you, start to root the low back down. Maybe you lift your head and chest. See if you can keep all of the work you created in the face as you lift up, maybe reaching your elbows towards the sky, feeling how you've curled yourself more into a ball. And then release from the face, the back of the neck. Elbows slowly come out towards the sides. And the front body slowly softens and releases all the way down through the inner thighs, all the way out through the sitting bones as you come all the way up to zero effort. Take a moment to pause. We're going to take one more cycle just like that. Again, when you're ready, starting from the top of the body, start to begin with your face. Let it move your head. Feel how the chin reaches forward and the chest sinks back. Start to build that down into the low belly, rolling your pelvis towards you, maybe curling the elbows in and reaching them up towards the sky, feeling the back, round back behind you, and keeping a little bit of that awareness of what you're doing from your face so that you can release it. Start to let that go. Let that soften through the scalp, the neck, the arms, the chest. Finally releasing all the way down through the inner thighs, letting the whole front body come to rest. And of course, as you finish that cycle, taking all the time you need to get there, you can release your arms by your sides or into a position that's comfortable for you, and take a moment or two just to breathe. And as you breathe, of course, notice how things feel through the front body, whether there's a little more space, a little more softness or consciousness there from having played with coming deeply into contraction and then consciously releasing back out of it. Let your elbows come along your side ribs now, letting your fingertips point up towards the sky. Bringing a little more connection into the back body. Start to gently press down with your elbows. Then add the backs of the arms, the shoulders. As you're ready, draw your shoulder blades towards one another. Feel your chest rise up. So this is the opposite movement pattern to where we just were. Keep the shoulder blades drawing towards your spine. Draw your shoulder blades down your back. Feel your shoulders rotate towards the floor and your chin come in towards your chest. Roll your pelvis towards your toes. Reach your heels and your sitting bones towards one another until you've created an arch that consciously includes the whole fabric of your back, piece by piece. And then start to very slowly come down. See if you can come down for a slow count of 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all the way back to zero effort. So we'll do that twice more. Again, differentiating the pieces as we come in, releasing from the whole fabric as we come out. Start from the elbows. Add the backs of the arms and the shoulders. Draw the shoulder blades towards one another as you're ready. Feel the chest broaden. Notice the movement of your head and neck. Chin comes towards the chest. Shoulder blades draw down the back. Pelvis rocks towards your toes. Maybe you even pull the knees apart by engaging through the outer hips. Find a place where the whole back is active. Notice how you're pressing the front body forward. And as you're ready, slowly ease off. Make sure you're releasing from the front of the throat as well, because that pattern of arching in the back body tends to contract the front of the throat, drawing the chin in towards the chest to keep your gaze looking forward towards the horizon. We'll take one more cycle. Again, as you're ready, beginning from the elbows, adding the backs of the arms and the shoulders, moving the shoulder blades towards one another, then down your back. Finally, letting the pelvis rock, inviting the outer hips to engage, moving the knees apart. Notice how you're ready to charge forward in this shape, feeling the chin draw in. And then come down for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Of course, taking more time if you need to until you've come all the way out to 0 effort. And again, give yourself a chance just to rest, really allowing your body to sink towards the mat, taking any counter poses that you might need. We're going to take one more somatics pattern, but for this one, we're going to come up to sit so that we can bring a little more release into the structures of the jaw and the face. When you feel like you're ready, roll yourself over to one side and bring yourself up to sit. These aren't movements that we've played with before, but if they feel good, they are movements that you could try laying down. But so that you can see them, we're going to come up to seated first to try them. And the first one is just a gentle massage with our hands for the space between the cheekbone and your jaw. So to find it, first, let your bottom jaw just sort of hang. We don't want to be holding the teeth together. Let there be a little space there. And then hook your thumb underneath the base of your jaw and use your first finger to very gently draw down along these muscles that move from the cheekbone towards the base of the chin. You want to avoid the space where you're coming over your teeth. It's a little further back from that. But just gently draw your pointer finger, or it could be your middle finger or ring finger, whatever's comfortable, with gentle pressure, draw downwards. And just for a couple of cycles, you can do both sides or one side at a time. Use your hands to very gently lengthen downwards through the fibers of those muscles. Again, let your jaw be soft. And just gently stroke through those muscles, letting the slow, even, but gentle pressure just be a reminder to let go. If you're only doing one side at a time, take some time to switch. Give yourself one more cycle. And then continuing to let your jaw be soft. Bring your hands back to that same space right below the cheekbone so that your fingers are resting over top of, this is the masseter muscle, I believe, over top of this muscle that controls the movement of your jaw. And really, really gently, starting on the left side, with the jaw hanging, press gently and feel how your jaw moves over towards the right, and then let that go. And then press on the right side, just gently, and then let that go. And try that a couple of times. Press gently on the left, Again, letting the bottom jaw just be heavy and gently on the right. One more time on each side, gently on the left. And gently on the right. And then let your hands come down and rest. So we're going to try one more pendiculation-oriented release for these structures up through the sides of the face in towards the forehead. And that's going to be adding a little gentle resistance at the chin. So with this one, I actually can't talk while I do it. So I'm going to describe it and then demonstrate it. So what we're going to be doing is bringing the bottom jaw up so that the teeth are coming close to one another. And you can try that just as I explained. As you bring your jaw up and press your teeth together, you should feel that those muscles in your jaw are contracting. So now to feel that a little bit more, because we close and open our jaws all the time without really noticing how much tension we might already be holding there, we're going to add just a tiny bit of resistance to the chin. So what that means is that as you're closing your jaw with your fingers resting on your chin, as your teeth start to get close, use your fingers to stop that movement. It doesn't need to be a huge clench of your jaw. Very slowly start to lift the bottom jaw up. And then stop that movement with your fingers so that you're pulling up with the jaw and down with your fingers in a way that's just gently stopped that movement. So we're going to call that amount of effort a 10, pulling up and pulling down. See if you can let the jaw muscles, the muscles pulling up on your chin, let that effort come to a 9. And let that very slowly, keeping your fingers at a 10, release your jaw downwards. Again, no force as you get to the end. You're trying to help your mind learn letting go. We'll try that a couple of times. Let the jaw come up. Again, use your fingers to stop it so that you're pressing your chin and your fingers into one another. And then do a little less with your jaw muscles so that your chin slowly comes down. We'll do that one more time. Gently bring the jaw up into your fingers. Meet and match that effort. And then from those muscles that have contracted, slowly let go. Once you finish that cycle, take a moment just to rest. So as we noticed when we were moving with our hips, the other way that our chins tend to move or our jaws tend to move is down in towards the chest. So the last thing we'll play with is that action. And for that, we're going to bring our thumbs, most likely, could be any fingers, but usually the thumbs are most comfortable, underneath the chin. So here the contraction is going to be to pull the jaw downwards. And the release is going to come from letting go from this upper part of the throat to let the fingers very sweetly move the jaw upwards. So we're not trying to force the muscles. We're trying to match those efforts, pressing the chin down and pressing up with the thumb. And then slowly let that go. And let the jaw rise back up again. So we'll do that a couple of times. Draw the jaw downwards and press your fingers, thumbs up into it. Again, gently. And then let that go. One more time. Let your jaw go down. Press your thumbs into it. And then slowly release. And then letting your hands soften. Take a moment just to rotate your head from side to side. Just easy, gently. Noticing how things feel. Maybe take your jaw a little bit from side to side, letting your head come back to neutral. And then letting that effort go. Continuing to notice as we start to practice more actively whether you start to build tension back up into that space. Let yourself come to child's pose. As you find your child's, again, maybe that's with your forehead coming down onto the mat. Maybe that's with a little bit of lift. If your head doesn't feel supported, you can either stack your fists to let your head rest down onto something, or you can put a block underneath your forehead. But make sure you can really let go through the structures of the neck to let the weight of the head move down towards the ground. Check in with your legs. Have a little space between your knees so that it's a little easier to lengthen through the back. And then starting to find a little more active connection. See if you can press your toenails, all 10 of them, down towards the mat and hug your lower legs in to take your upper inner thighs back and apart. You should feel that those two actions reach your heels towards your sitting bones and your sitting bones towards your heels. They draw the tops of the thighs back. As you lengthen back through the tops of the thighs, press your hands down into the mat. And as you press your hands down, see if you can lift up from the wrists towards the forearms, from the forearms towards the elbows, from the elbows towards the armpits, and the armpits into the upper back. You might need to adjust the position of your head as you create more connection in the upper back. Keep the arm bones lifted. Keep the connection between the heels and the sitting bones and start to walk your upper body around towards the left. As you go towards the left, you'll be lengthening on the right side. Keep reaching back through that right hip. So the right heel and the right sitting bone need to be more committed to their connection to one another. And take a couple of breaths, lengthening through the side of the body. Keep the shoulders rising up. And then start to walk back into center. And refreshing that connection between the left heel and the left sitting bone, take the upper body around towards the right. Again, see if you can stay grounded at the hips and lengthen your spine away from them. Hands pressed down, rise all the way up into the armpits. See if you can let your chest be broad and your spine long as you arc to the side. Give yourself one more breath here. And then come back to center. We're going to come into tabletop position, but see if you can come to table by pushing your knees back behind you. So push back with your knees and see if you can start to feel as you slowly come up that there's engagement through your glutes and your hips. We're going to come most of the way up, pressing back with the knees. And then we're going to slowly let that press of the knees backwards go, letting the hips sink back down towards the hips. See if you can feel how you're letting go from your glutes, from your butt muscles and your low back to come back towards child's. We're going to do that 2 more times before we actually come all the way to table. Press the knees back behind you. It's as if you're going to straighten the legs backwards, but you can't because the floor is there. So instead, it's going to cause you to lift up towards table. You should feel engagement through your butt muscles. And then pushing a little with your hands so that you're opposing that movement forward, start to slowly let go. Again, you're releasing from your glutes, from your back, from the back of the legs, coming back into child's again. We're going to do that one more time. Again, push backwards with the knees. The floor will stop the legs from moving and it will result in your hips lifting up. As you come up, stop yourself with your hands so that your hands are pressing you backwards as your knees are pressing you forwards, so that your mind can be clear, can really feel where the contraction is happening in the glutes on the back. And then slowly let that go. See if you can slowly lower the hips down, really staying conscious of what it feels like to let go and soften the work in those muscles. We're going to press up one more time, but this time we're going to stay in child's. I'm making your way up into child's pose, into table. It'd be hard to make your way up into child's pose. We'll take a couple cycles of cat and cow. As you're ready, let your tail reach down. You might notice it's a little easier to reach your tail down after having done that work, releasing into the upper part of the glutes. And vertebra by vertebra, go up through your spine. See if you can really round your back here. Notice how the chin comes in towards the chest as the neck moves with this shape. And then slowly let that go. Pause as you get to neutral, and as you reverse the shape, hug in with the lower legs, take the upper inner thighs back and apart. See if you can feel a little movement right at your sacrum, and let the wave begin from there. As the sacrum tips, let that connect to each vertebra in your spine, letting them move forward, letting your back muscles contract into an arch, into cow. And then slowly let that go. So we'll go one more time in each direction. Tail reaches down. Again, see if you can move each vertebra in your spine up towards the sky, all the way into the neck. Take a breath there. Breathe into your back. And then slowly let that go. One last time through cow, activating the inner thighs, letting that movement begin at the sacrum, the very base of the spine. Letting it move vertebra by vertebra, seeing if you can allow a little bit of movement to come all the way up through the upper back into the neck. Again, pausing here, breathing into the front body. And then releasing, coming back to neutral. And then tuck your toes. Before you come into downward facing dog, see if you can find that lift for the arm bones. Inner hands press down, but lift up towards the elbows, up towards the upper arms, up into the armpits. You'll feel your shoulders come way towards your ears and the side body gets super long. Keep the armpits hollow and then use your legs to come into downward facing dog. See if you can keep lifting up through the arm bones. We're trying to create the support for the neck and that long line into the skull to lengthen. From that lift in the arm bone, see if you can let your tail reach towards the sky and your head dangle. See if you can get a little more length, a little more ease through the head, and very gently rotate your head side to side like a no. And nod your head a little bit like a yes, just moving gently, trying to release and lengthen all the way into the top of the head and the face. Keep the armpits lifted. With your next inhale, come forward to plank. Use your legs here, reaching the heels up towards the sky, engaging in the core so that the hips come to shoulder height. And then think about drawing from your deep core out through your sitting bones and tail as you reach back. Upper arms go forward, armpits stay lifted, inner hands stayed anchored down. One more time, glide forward. Keep the heels reaching up, lengthen through the top of your head. Keep the length as you shift back. As you shift back into downward facing dog, make sure you're releasing your neck long. One more time, come forward to plank. This time we'll come down. As you come down, think about pulling the mat towards you, engaging in the upper back. Come all the way down as you're ready, and let your arms either be by your ribs or down by your sides. And moving into cobra pose as you feel ready, letting the front body lengthen. Breathe into the belly, let the shoulders come towards your ears in the sky. Draw the shoulder blades towards one another and down the back. Maybe lifting the arms, maybe reaching back through the fingertips. And then slowly release your way back and down. And we'll take 2 more cycles here. Letting the front body lengthen, side body be long, then engaging through the back. Feeling those same movements in the back body, building that arch intentionally, and then releasing it consciously. Making sure that all of those places are engaged and letting you come back down. Give yourself 1 more cycle, and shoulders lift, shoulder blades draw towards one another, shoulder blades draw down the back, noticing how that rotates the arms, maybe letting that come all the way to your hands so that the palms turn out, thumbs point up towards the sky. And then as you release, let the arms rotate so that as you come all the way back down, the backs of the hands rest on the mat, palms face up. Take a moment just to be soft as you come all the way down. And then place your hands and make your way back, downward facing dog. Nice. As you find your down dog, lift up through the armpits and then see if you can take your armpits apart. That's a pretty big action from the chest. Shoulder blades will be moving the tips towards one another as the collarbones broaden. See if you can hug the outer arms in, like you're returning the inner corners of your elbows to face towards your thumbs. And then reach through your arms. And as you reach, see if you can let your shoulder blades glide on the back. They're going with the arms. And then use your legs. Activate the arches, rise up through the inner thighs and the sitting bones, and reach back through your sitting bones and tail. So your spine is extending as the arms are reaching. Give yourself 2 more breaths here. And then walk your feet up to meet your hands. Come into a forward fold. As you fold, make sure your feet are hip width distance apart so you've got your ankles stacked underneath your hips. And bend enough that you can start to bring your belly and your thighs close, and especially to get the tops of the thighs back. Find a place where you feel a gentle sense of stretch in the back of the legs, keeping the belly and the thighs touching, lifting the hips up, and let your hands connect onto something. That could be the floor if you can reach it, but it might also be your thighs or wherever is comfortable. We're going to do a little bit of walking in place here. Let your head dangle so that, again, you're releasing all of this structure up into the face and reaching the heels back. Bend the left knee, let the right leg extend. See if you can keep even weight through the corners of the feet here as you move in the legs. And then let the left leg extend, let the right knee bend. Again, see if you can keep the weight even in both feet as you shift back and forth. And give yourself a couple of cycles here. As you move with the legs, let the upper body sway as it needs, but see if you can keep the feet anchored. Give yourself a couple more cycles. Of course, as you're extending the work in the hamstrings will get more intense. You'll also feel a little more stretch into the outer hip. Give yourself 1 more cycle to each side. And then come back to center. Take your hands to your hips and come all the way up to stand. Moving with your breath, let your arms come down by your sides. And as you exhale, rotate the arms, let the palms turn towards the back. Let that bring you all the way around into that same rounded shape we played with at the beginning of class. Let your chin come in. Let that lengthening come all the way through the back of the skull. And as you inhale, come back up to stand. Moving into the arch, turn the palms out. Let the shoulder blades move, the back body engage. Maybe let your gaze look up, make sure it's comfortable with your neck. And then inhale back to stand. Give yourself 1 more cycle just like that. As you spiral the arms forward, let that take the shoulder blades way far apart. Move through the back body, let your heart sink backwards. And then consciously let that go, rising back up to stand. As you turn the palms out, think about your heart moving forward and up, reversing that shape, noticing how that comes from contraction in the back body. And then letting that go. Weaving those together with your exhale, rotate the palms towards the back, round the upper back, feel the ribs go way far backwards. Let that be your anchor point. Keep the ribs back, lengthen down through the low belly, down through your sitting bones until your hips shift back under your ribs, and then come up through the upper back, keeping the ribs back. Let the shoulders stack. So now hips, ribs, and shoulders are on top of one another. And then let the arms reach up as you anchor down through the outer hips into the corners of the feet. With your exhale, bring your hands down through center. Come down into your forward fold, lengthening through the spine. As you're ready, take your hands to your knees, extend out, half flat back. Let the collarbones be broad here. And then bow your way back down and in. Take your hands to your hips. Come all the way back up. Release your hands as you exhale, rotate the arms, spiral inward, shift the ribs back, and then stack. Go down through the low belly and sitting bones, bending your knees if you need to. Hips go under the ribs. Come up through the upper back so that you're extending all the way up to the top of the head, letting the shoulders be supported by the rib cage. Arms rise as you're ready. Feet press down as you reach up. Let your hands come down through center as you fold. See if you continue to keep a sense of connection between the hips, the ribs, the shoulders, the neck, and head. Take your hands to your knees when you're ready. Shoulders rise, armpits broaden, and then keep that as you go to downward facing dog. Press the hands down, lift the arm bones up, and move the armpits apart. See if you can find the muscles on the back and release the muscles on the chest. Come forward to plank as you're ready, and all the way down onto the mat. Taking a second cycle of cobra pose. If you'd like, bring your hands back behind your hips, interlacing your fingers, or work with one of those other two variations, palms by the sides, arms alongside your body. All really are the same action. If your hands are behind your back and interlaced, you can play a little more with reaching through the hands. So again, as you rise up, breathe into the belly, let the front body lengthen. As you curl up, reach through the arms. Feel how the middle and upper back engage. And then slowly come back down. As ever, we'll aim to take 3 cycles. Again, as you come up, see if you can find that balance of stability and movement that allows you to bring yourself into this back bend without compressing any part of the spine so that there's a little bit of movement from a lot of places. As you're ready, take a 3rd cycle. Breathing, of course, as you make your way in and as you make your way out. Take a moment to rest as you get down onto the floor. And when you're ready, come back, downward facing dog. Yeah, nice, Dad. Keep lifting up through the armpits. That's it. And then Allison, see if you can take the inner shoulders a little higher. So the ones that are, yeah, closest to your ears, let them rise up. And then engage with the outer arms so that the elbow faces the inner corners, point towards the thumbs, and then anchor the inner hand down. So this is a double spiral, 2 opposite actions happening in the arms at the same time. Same thing happens in the legs. Lower legs hug in so the upper inner thighs can move back and apart. And drawing your ribs back, reach down from the outer hips through the corners of the feet. See if you can find the dual spiral in the arms and in the legs. And then walk a little bit here. Let one knee bend, let the other heel reach towards the mat. Let that come into the side body if you like. And then switch. See if you can keep the double spiral in the arms and in the legs, letting it adjust dynamically as you move. Give yourself one more cycle to each side. And then start to walk your feet up to meet your hands. Come into a forward fold. Take a moment here to shake your head yes. Shake your head no. Maybe draw a little circle on the floor with the top of your skull. And make sure you're soft through the structures of your face. Take your hands back behind your hips as you're ready, interlacing your fingers. One more time, take your shoulders towards your ears, lift them up towards the sky, and reach through the top of your head. See if you can get connected all the way along your spine. And then start to lift the hands up. As you lift the hands up, keep a little bend in the elbows so that the shoulder blades are really hugging the upper back. And maybe bow further in. Maybe keep your spine lengthening out long and releasing through the structures of the upper back. Give yourself a couple of breaths here. Make sure your shoulders don't collapse forward. And press down into your feet. Come all the way back up. Releasing your hands as you exhale.
Rotate the arms around forward to shift the ribs back. Feel the back get long. We want length on all four sides. Lengthen down through the low belly, down through the lower part of the side waist. Come up through the back ribs and the side body, softening the chest. Finally, take the arms up as you press your feet down. Catch a hold of the right wrist with the left hand. Send the hips to the right, upper body over towards the left, arcing into a C shape towards the side. As you breathe, press down into your feet and reach up and over so you're not collapsing to the side. Come back up to center, switch the clasp. Again, root down through your feet as you reach up and over towards the right. Feel the side body coming into extension. And come back up to center. As you exhale, come down into your forward fold. We're going to play with Utkatasana here for our breath. Bend your knees, making sure your knees stay over your ankles. That means your hips have to go way back behind you. Start to bring your hands up onto your thighs so that you're lifting your chest up. Draw your ribs back and lengthen back through your sitting bones. So you might stay here. If it's comfortable for your back, keeping this connection at the ribs, start to take the arms either out towards the sides or turning the palms up towards the sky. We're going to take a couple breaths here in Utkatasana, hug in with the legs, root through the heels and feet as you reach through your fingers. Give yourself 2 more breaths. Invite the thighs to work, invite the glutes to work. And then slowly release, coming down through the upper body, laying your belly down onto your thighs. And then gently working the legs any amount towards straight till you've come into a forward fold. As you inhale, look forward and lengthen, half flat back. And then bring your hands down, walk your feet back, downward facing dog. From down dog, step the left foot forward. This time for our lunge and twist, we're going to bring the back knee, the left knee down onto the mat. Pat it if you need to. And especially if you're patting, make sure as you place the foot and the knee, they're in line with one another. Hug in with the legs. As you're ready, start to bring your hands up onto the front thigh. You can always practice this with the back knee lifted if there's any pain or tension there, but having both knees down makes it a whole lot easier to balance. When you're ready, right hand is going to stay on the right thigh, left arm is going to reach up towards the sky. As you reach up, draw your ribs back, lengthen down through your tail, up through the top of your head, and see if you can let the shoulders soften onto the support of your ribs. So if we're collapsed, there's nothing to support the ribs. But when we find this sense of connection and length, then the rib cage is buoyant and the shoulders and the neck can rest onto that support. Keeping that buoyancy, we're going to take the left hand over towards the right. So you're going to be leaning towards the right here. As you lean, hug the left knee forward and maybe let your hips come forward a little bit. Totally optional, but you can lengthen a lot through this center line, connecting the thigh up into the ribs on the back. Give yourself another breath or 2 here. And come back up to center. We're going to take a twist from this position. We'll take the left elbow or the left hand across towards the outer edge of the right thigh. Yeah, like that, Dad, exactly. So as you twist, totally optional. If you have the space to rotate that left palm towards the right thigh, you can bring the left forearm parallel to that right thigh so that the left hand comes onto the outer edge of the right hip. Hug in with the legs. See if you can lengthen up through the top of your head and then turn from your belly if you feel like you have further to go into the twist. Gently release. As you come back around to center, we'll switch. So you can either come through table or downward facing dog, but we'll end up with the left foot coming forward and the right knee coming down onto the mat. Again, add padding or support as you need to so your knee is comfortable. It's usually more comfortable to have the weight at the base of the thigh than on the kneecap. And as you're ready, start to lift up, bringing your hands onto that front knee. Hug in with the legs. See if you can draw from the feet up into your center to help the hips stay square. That's going to help get the ribs in communication with the spine. And when you're ready, the right arm is going to reach up. Again, lengthen down through your tail, up through the top of your head. And as you're ready, start to take the upper body towards the left. As you go towards the left, press back through the right big toe. See if you can keep that right thigh squared towards the front of the mat. And again, if you feel like you have deeper to go, you can let the hips move forward a little bit to play with a slightly deeper stretch and that connection between the center of the body and the leg. Give yourself 2 more breaths here. And come back up to center. And again, we'll add the twist. It can either be the hand that comes across or the elbow that comes across. As you twist, exhale in, lengthen through your spine. Maybe bring that right forearm towards the outer edge of the left thigh. Brings a little more rotation through the shoulder. Make sure it's comfortable there. And reaching back through the hips, keeping them square, lengthen through the top of your head. And again, if you're coming deeper into the twist, see if you can turn from your belly rather than levering with your arm. And we'll be here for a breath or two. And start to gently release. And we're going to come back to the right side. This time, we're not going to bring a knee down. So we're going to go right foot forward, and we're going to pivot the left foot, bringing the back heel or back arch down in line with the front one. We're going to come towards Parsva Konasana. So once you set up the feet, lift through the arches. See if you can pull all the way up through the inner thighs and out through your sitting bones. And drawing the ribs back, press down into the corners of the feet to bring your right forearm up onto your right thigh. Nice. Awesome. See if you can find this long line from the top of your head all the way down and out from your legs. And then take the top arm up. So we're going to play a little bit with some shoulder blade actions before we hold in this pose. Once you've taken the left arm up, take it forward about in line with your eyebrow. So it's going to be a little bit in front of your body and reaching out towards the top of your mat. And what we're going to try to do is move the shoulder blade to shorten and lengthen the arm. So as you're ready, see if you can draw the left shoulder back. Should feel your back arch a little bit and your back muscles engage. And then release that contraction. Let your arm reach back out long again. So we'll try that a couple of times. We're trying to move the shoulder blade. Draw the shoulder back, feel your shoulder blade move down the back body, and then release, let the arm reach back out again. We'll do that one more time. Draw the shoulder back, feel the back engage and arch a little bit, and then let that go. Now position the arm so it comes over your ear. Let your chest turn open a little bit more. We'll take 2 more breaths here, holding here in Parsva. Root down through your feet. Let that help you to reach through your spine. And then start to release your hands down. We'll switch sides, however you like. Come to the left. Left toes will point towards the top of the mat. Right foot will pivot, again, aiming to get the back arch or back heel in line with the front one. Root through the feet. Again, draw up from the arches, anchor from the corners of the feet, and let that help you to bring your left forearm onto your left thigh. Again, as you're ready, right arm is going to rise up. And setting up for those shoulder actions, take the arm forward, but let it come kind of across your eyebrow. So it'll be a little bit forward and a little less towards the top of the mat so that you can play with this movement on your back. As you're ready, draw the left shoulder back behind you. See if you can feel your back muscles contract. And then release from your back. Notice how the arm re-lengthens. So we'll do that a couple more times. Draw the shoulder back. Feel how the back contracts to take that action. And then release the arm back out long. One more time. Draw the shoulder back. Feel the arm get short from the back muscles. And then let the arm get long, again, from the back muscles. And then really finding whatever your full expression is of Parsva, lengthening through the arm, reaching down and out through the legs, extending through the top of your head. Give yourself 2 more breaths. And then release your hands down. Step back to downward facing dog. And then walk your hands back to meet your feet. So they're in a forward fold. And take your hands to your hips and come all the way up to stand. So we'll take one final standing pose here, working on a standing balance. And I thought for today we'd take eagle to try to release a little bit through these connections up into the jaw and the tops of the shoulders. So first we'll find the arms. Let your arms come out towards the sides. And then bringing your arms forward, take the right elbow underneath the left, hooking the elbows, and either bring the backs of the hands or the palms of the hands, or maybe only the elbows, into a twine around one another so that you're hugging the elbows, the forearms, maybe even the palms together. Should feel your upper back broaden. Let the ribs draw back, lengthen down through the low belly, up through the top of the head. Only if you need more intensity with the upper body, lift the elbows up a little bit and let the hands come forward. So with the right arm underneath, the right leg is going to cross over top. So start to feel your way down into your chair pose. Hips sit way back. Feel free to stay here if you don't want to explore the balance. If you're exploring the balance, shift your weight into the left foot, pick the right one up. Cross it high up and over, hugging the knees together, maybe wrapping the ankle around towards the back. Hug the midline here, and then see if you can lengthen your spine without pulling the shoulders up. See if you can reach the spine through the shoulder girdle. Again, we'll be here a couple more breaths. Only if you feel like you want a challenge, reach the hips back to start to bring the elbows towards the knees. Yeah, Allison, nice work. And then start to gently release, coming all the way back up. Unwinding the arms. Maybe a moment to shake out the legs if you need to. We have one more side. So again, letting the arms come out towards the sides when you're ready. This time we'll cross the left elbow underneath the right, or whatever's the opposite twine for you. Again, first find that connection. Maybe the elbows come higher, maybe the hands come forward, but not at the expense of the ribs. Make sure the ribs stay anchored so you can really connect through your spine. Start to sit your hips back towards your heels. Left arm is under, so left leg is going to go over. Ground through the right foot. Pick the leg up, crossing high up and over. Again, maybe it's just the knees and thighs. Maybe you wrap the toes around, totally optional. See if you could square the knees and the elbows forward and reach the hips back as you extend up through the top of your head. Once you've found that length, again, totally optional, you can sit the hips further back to bring yourself into a more closed position, letting the elbows come towards the knees. Give yourself a final breath here. And then start to gently unwind, coming back up. Releasing the arms. Coming back to stand. Take a moment just to circle the shoulders. Going both directions, of course, as you feel ready. And then from here, come to tabletop position. And as you find your table, bring your elbows down onto the mat, about shoulder width distance apart, enough forward that as you reach your hips back, you can bring some length through the backs of the arms. Palms can be together if that's comfortable, apart if that's more comfortable. Press the elbows down to lift the armpits up, just like we were playing with in downward facing dog. And then keep the press of the elbows down and see if you can lengthen back through your hips so that you're starting to open that angle at the armpits. Keep the elbows pressing down, shoulders and armpits moving apart. Maybe you keep the palms together. Maybe you press your fingertips together and take the palms apart as if you were holding a ball in between your hands. Give yourself a couple of breaths here. Start to gently release, coming back up. And opening into the outer hip, take one of our three usual variations, either coming to stand, taking the figure four balancing variation, coming into pigeon, taking the right shin forward, or coming onto your back, fourth thread the needle, taking the right ankle onto the left knee.
As you set yourself up, once you've created the initial shape, then integrate it. Draw the toes back and spread them apart. Let that help you to reach out through the sitting bones so that you're creating that tethered connection between the heels and the sitting bones, just like we did in child's pose. From the arches, come up through that Y of energy through the sitting bones, and from the base of the ribs, reach down through the outer hips and through the corners of the feet so that your center is super integrated. And then come in more deeply, whether that's inviting the knees in and thread the needle, bringing the forearms down into pigeon, or sitting the hips back behind you in the standing figure four variation. All are similar shapes, targeting the outer portion of that right hip as the legs and the torso come closer towards one another. Keep the legs strong, the center of your body connected. We'll be here a couple more breaths. Again, feel free to add in any variations that you like, whether that's rocking the legs, rotating the upper body in pigeon, choosing a different angle, perhaps if you find one that needs a little extra love. Let's start to gently release, feet come down. When you're ready, switch. Left ankle comes to right knee or left shin comes forward. Again, weave the pieces together. Reach the heels and the sitting bones towards one another. Let the ribs melt back so that you're integrated through the curves of your spine. Feet stay active. Reach out through the corners of the feet as you drop from the arches. And again, either coming to the forearms or inviting the legs in or sitting the hips further back. Feel your way into your version of this pose. For the first couple of breaths, stay steady in the center. Feeling into what is in this moment in that hip. And then if it feels right to do so for the last few breaths, add a little movement if you like. Give yourself a last breath here. Let's start to gently release. We're going to end up on our backs. So if you weren't in thread the needle, take all the time you need to make your way down onto your back. We're going to set ourselves up for bridge pose. So as you get there, place your feet so that your ankles are, or heels rather, are close to your hips, ankles stacked underneath the knees. And then bring your elbows alongside the ribs, just as we did earlier in our practice. Let's start to build that active connection into the back. Press down through the elbows, through the backs of the arms, shoulders. Draw the shoulder blades towards one another. Move them down the back. Let your pelvis rock, heels and sitting bones reach towards one another so that your back bend includes your whole back, particularly the upper back, keeping a gentle, softening connection at the base of the ribs so that they don't fly forward. Either staying here or lifting the hips. Feel your way into whatever form of bridge is your version for today. See if you can reach forward through the knees and down through the three corners of both feet. Taking whatever arm position you like. We'll be here for a couple of breaths. Let your shoulder blades scoop up the back of your heart here. And let your chin very gently move away from your chest if there's any strain at all in your neck. And start to gently release, softening your way down. We'll take one more trip through bridge or another back bend variation if you feel like you'd like to add on. You can always reach for the ankles. You can always place your hands setting up for a wheel or take a foot up away from the mat. We'll build in the same way, starting with the elbows alongside the ribs. Again, elbows to backs of the arms, to shoulders, to upper back. Shoulder blades move down, low back arches as the pelvis rocks. And then as you feel ready, start to feel your way in towards your variation. Again, maybe that looks more like bridge. Maybe it looks like a wheel or some other variation. Giving yourself 5 breaths. And after your fifth breath, slowly making your way back down. Letting your spine lengthen long along the mat. And then when you're ready, either hugging your knees in towards your chest or coming into happy baby, sending the soles of the feet up, catching the outer edges of the feet. We'll take a few breaths, lengthening through the back. Whichever variation you're in, see if you can let your sitting bones reach down and lengthen back through the tops of the thighs and the sitting bones. If you're in happy baby, that'll take your knees towards your armpits as your sitting bones come down towards the mat. Be here a couple breaths again. In either variation, if rocking feels good, feel free to rock a little bit. And then start to gently release. And we'll finish by taking a final twist. If you have a favorite twist, please take it. Otherwise, let the left leg extend all the way out long. Tuck the right toes back behind the left knee. And with your left hand, rotating from the hips, the spine, lengthening through that top right side, allow your body to move into the twist. As you rotate, maybe let the twist come all the way up through your neck. So your gaze is towards the right as your knee moves towards the left. And see if you can let the shoulders rest down and the bottom hip gently press down into the mat. Notice how that keeps your spine a little more centered and lets that rotation spiral up into the chest and the upper back. Start to gently release, coming back to center. And switching sides. Right leg extends, left toes tuck underneath, or of course the opposite side of the twist that you chose. And use your right hand to guide your hips, your leg, your spine around into this twist. Again, if there's the space to do so, shoulders remain down on the mat. Gaze maybe rotates towards the left hand. Right hip gently presses down into the mat. See if you can remain connected through your spine. Last breath here. And start to gently release. And as you make your way onto your back again, take any final movements that your body might be calling out for, add any extra layers that you might need, and we'll make our way into Shavasana. And as you find a comfortable place here, deepen your connection to your breath. And then bring your attention up into the structures of your face. Once you've closed your eyes, see if you can let your eyelids be heavy and your eyes feel like they soften back into their sockets. See if you can let your tongue melt away from your teeth and your lower jaw soften. So that again, in that space we explored earlier in practice, there's a sense of release and softness. And then let that deepening of softness and support from the mat flow down through your body. See if you can let the shoulders be more weighty, not by pressing them into the floor, but by letting go in the chest. Can the arms and hands be heavy? The back, the hips, the legs rest deeply into the support of the floor by letting go from deep in the center of the body. And as you soften the container of your physical form, let the breath flow in and flow out. very, very sweetly start to deepen your breathing. And let your breath bring you back towards the surface. Bring a little gentle movement back into your body, wiggling your fingers, your toes. And as you're ready, let expand in any way that feels right. Moving from the inside back out again. And then bend your knees. Make your way over onto one side. And taking all the time you need to get there, make your way up to sit. Sitting in any way that feels comfortable to you. As you find a comfortable seat, let your hands come together in front of your heart. And take a moment to bow your head in. Thank yourself for making time to practice. And then bring your thumbs to your third eye. And bow forward to close your practice. Namaste.